Hello, welcome to Aimee Nolte Music. I'm Aimee Nolte, coming at you from my hotel room again. Do you remember that we have talked about how to learn the bebop language? And when we talked about that, we were using rhythm changes. I think it's important to start with rhythm changes and probably the blues, but it's also important to be able to speak the bebop language, play the bebop language over jazz standards. So I thought today would be a good time to introduce something I like to teach and something I like to implement myself called limits. Now, what I mean by this is sometimes I like to practice some particular element, something that I'm working hard on, and I like to impose limits on myself. So maybe I'm working on a scale, like maybe I'm working on my altered dominant scale. And so the limit that I impose on myself is that every time I get to a dominant chord, I'm going to play ideas from the altered dominant scale, something like that. Maybe I'm working on being really chromatic in my lines. So my limit for myself would be that every bar I have to sing 2 half steps. Just little things like that to challenge myself and at the same time limit myself. So the limit is a challenge. So what I've done today is I've taken the tune There Will Never Be Another You. Now, I like this tune, and I like it for this particular exercise because what we're going to do is we're going to use the melody. The melody is going to be our limit. So we're going to sing the melody, and then we're going to go away from it, and then we're going to come back to it. We're going to go away from it. We're going to come back to it. That way, we're doing a few things. Every time we go away from it, we are singing bebop lines. Every time we come back to it, we're reminding ourselves of where we are in the tune, what the melody actually is, making sure we're in tune, if we're doing it a cappella, like I'll be today. And it's a good exercise because I think during a real solo, it's a nice idea to return to the melody often, to remind your listener of where you are and to just kind of prove that you know the tune really well. I think it's nice. So I have written something out and I'm going to sing it for you. And if you would like to also have it, I did write it out. You can email me, aimenolte@yahoo.com, and I will get a copy to you. All right, so let me show you a little bit. We start with the melody. You can see, there will be many other nights like this, and we go away from it. Then, do you see how we do? We go to the melody, go away from the melody, go to the melody, go away from the melody. And my only real rule for myself was that on these 4 bars over here, somehow I had to lead myself to the next melody note that would be over here. Does that make sense? The only time we depart from it is at the end because I feel like the very last 8 bars is a little different than the rest of the song. I may dream a million dreams, but how can they come true? That part, I think that's a whole big phrase that just needs to be, for this exercise, we just need to play the melody. And then the last 4 bars, we just go away from it completely and we just play bebop. Okay, I think it's an extra challenge to practice a cappella. So you don't have to. You can practice sitting at your instrument or with your instrument. You can do this any way you feel comfortable. It's high. The key of E flat, the song is high for me. That being said, here we go. Squeaky squeak. Do 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 la da 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 do 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 It's a little challenging, but it's fun. And it's also a little bit, what I call barf. Like I wouldn't actually ever sing that many eighth notes all together. I mean, I might, from time to time I might, but it's kind of a bunch of barf. Just like I'm just going do 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 do, just blah, right? But it's okay. It's just an exercise. And these licks, all of these eighth notes and triplets that I've sung for you, the little ideas that we practice, the exercises we do, the things that we transcribe, they're all just a means to an end, which is improvising. All right? So this barf is gonna not be barf someday. Put some limits on yourself. See how it feels. I hope you guys like this exercise. It was actually really helpful to me. I'll tell you why. Because if I was going to sit down and impose this limit on myself where I sing the melody for 2 bars and then I sing eighth notes for 2 bars or bebop ideas for 2 bars, and then I have to go back to the melody, I probably, just improvising, just trying it on my own and improvising, I probably couldn't make it back to the melody very easily. So the good that this exercise did for me when I sat and wrote it down, I actually had to think outside of what is normally comfortable for me and tweak my bebop lines so that they led me right into the melody of the next part. So that was really good for me. And I thought of some bebop lines that I think I don't normally improvise with just because of that. Because I had that limit on myself, that rule that I have, by the end of these 2 bars, I've got to be back to the melody note. Then it just made me tweak my bebop lines a little bit so that they led to the melody note, and that was really good for me. So singing these lines over and over is going to be good for me as well as good for you. If you guys would like an extra challenge, I would love it if you would write out your own exercise, impose the same limits on yourself, and show me how you get back to the melody. Extra challenge. Like I said, write to me if you'd like the PDF, and I will send it your way. Happy practicing. I'll see you next time on Aimee Nolte Music.